Everything on Earth was getting bigger. Bigger oceans, bigger forests, bigger predators. And then it stopped. The giants vanished, not slowly, not naturally, almost like the planet suddenly changed its mind. For millions of years, Earth created monsters. Creatures so massive they barely seem real today. Sharks the size of buses, birds taller than humans, insects larger than hawks, dinosaurs heavier than airplanes. So here's the question. If evolution once created giants so easily, why doesn't it anymore? What killed the age of monsters? And more importantly, what if it happens again? Because the truth is, Earth didn't stop making giants by accident. Something went wrong. And it started in a world that seemed perfect. 100 million years ago, Earth looked unstoppable. The planet was warmer, forests stretched across entire continents. Food existed almost everywhere. Oxygen levels were different. The oceans were overflowing with life. Every system on Earth was working together like a machine designed to create giants. And it worked. Dinosaurs grew to impossible sizes. Some sauropods reached lengths longer than basketball courts. Their footsteps shook the ground. Their hearts had to pump blood nearly 4 stories upward just to reach their brains. And somehow, it worked. But dinosaurs weren't the only giants. In the oceans, predators grew beyond anything alive today. Ancient marine reptiles hunted in dark seas like underwater dragons. Some fish were larger than modern cars. Even the sky looked different. Massive flying reptiles drifted above forests with wings wider than small planes. Imagine looking up and seeing something that large blocking out the sun. And yet, this wasn't considered strange. For millions of years, giant creatures were normal. Earth kept making them again and again. But that's where the mystery begins. Because evolution usually avoids giant size. Large animals need enormous amounts of food. They move slower. They struggle to reproduce quickly. One bad year can wipe them out. By all logic, giant creatures should fail. But during prehistoric Earth, they dominated everything. Which means something about the planet itself was helping them survive. And this is where things get strange. Scientists discovered that ancient Earth may have been operating under completely different rules. Back then, oxygen levels were sometimes far higher than today. The atmosphere itself may have helped creatures grow larger. Insects are one of the best examples. Today, insects are small because their bodies cannot efficiently move oxygen over large distances. But millions of years ago, giant dragonflies ruled the skies. Some had wingspans nearly as wide as a human arm. Imagine hearing that buzzing above your head in a dark swamp. But that wasn't the real warning sign. The real clue was happening underground. Ancient forests were pulling massive amounts of carbon from the atmosphere. The planet stayed warm, sea levels remained high, ecosystems became incredibly stable, and stable worlds create giants. Because giant animals need predictability. They need endless food, steady climates, reliable ecosystems. As long as Earth remained stable, the giants thrived. But stability is fragile. And eventually, tiny cracks began appearing. At first, nothing looked serious. Temperatures shifted slightly. Sea levels changed. Some forests disappeared. Small changes. The kind most animals could survive. But giant creatures are different. Everything about them depends on balance. A smaller animal can hide during famine. It can reproduce faster, adapt quicker. Giants can't. And this is where things started going wrong. The larger the animal, the harder it became to survive sudden change. Then, Earth became unstable. Volcanoes erupted for thousands of years. Continents moved apart. Oceans changed direction. The climate became unpredictable. Food chains started collapsing. And once giant creatures begin struggling, the collapse spreads fast. A massive predator needs massive prey. Massive prey needs endless plants. Endless plants require stable weather. Break one link and everything falls apart. But even then, the giants survived. Again and again, Earth pushed them to the edge, and they adapted until one day, something hit the planet. And this is where the story usually ends. The asteroid. The impact that killed the dinosaurs. But the asteroid wasn't the full story. Because Earth had already started changing before the impact happened. The giants were already under pressure. The asteroid simply finished the job. And it happened unbelievably fast. The rock slammed into Earth with more force than billions of nuclear bombs. Forests ignited instantly. Shockwaves circled the planet. Entire coastlines vanished beneath tsunamis. But strangely, some small animals survived. Tiny mammals lived, small birds survived. Burrowing creatures made it through. The giants didn't. And that revealed something terrifying. Being enormous had become a weakness. For millions of years, giant size had been evolution's greatest advantage. Now suddenly, it was fatal. Large animals needed too much food, too much space, too much stability. And after the asteroid, stability disappeared. Ash blocked sunlight, plants died, temperatures collapsed. Earth became a world designed for survival, not dominance. And small creatures adapted better. That single shift changed the future forever. The Age of Giants ended. But here's the strange part. Even after dinosaurs disappeared, Earth tried making giants again. During the Ice Age, enormous creatures returned. Woolly mammoths, giant ground sloths, massive bears, terror birds. It was almost as if evolution couldn't resist trying again. And for a while, it worked. Then humans arrived. And this is where the mystery becomes uncomfortable. Because wherever humans spread, giants disappeared soon after. Not immediately, but consistently. Australia lost giant reptiles and marsupials. North America lost mammoths and saber-tooths. Islands across the world lost enormous birds within generations of human arrival. At first, scientists blamed hunting, but that explanation felt incomplete. Humans were primitive then. No machines, no factories, no advanced weapons. How could small groups of humans erase creatures that survived ice ages? But the answer was never just hunting. Humans brought something far more dangerous. Instability, fires, changing landscapes, competition, fear, disruption. And giant animals are extremely vulnerable to disruption. They reproduce slowly, recover slowly, adapt slowly. Even small pressure becomes catastrophic over time. And suddenly, the pattern across Earth made sense. The giants didn't disappear because they were weak. They disappeared because the world stopped being predictable. The planet that once supported monsters no longer existed. Earth itself had changed. And maybe that change is still happening now. Look around today. Most giant animals remaining on Earth are struggling. Whales, elephants, rhinos. Almost every massive creature alive today exists under constant pressure. Habitat loss, climate change, food shortages. It's the same pattern again. Because giant creatures live close to the edge. They always have. And maybe that's the hidden truth behind prehistoric Earth. The Age of Giants was never normal. It was temporary. A rare moment when Earth's systems aligned perfectly. Warm climates, rich oxygen, stable ecosystems, endless food. For a brief period in planetary history, the conditions were right for monsters. Then the balance broke. And once it broke, evolution changed direction forever. Smaller became safer, faster became better, flexible became stronger than powerful. The world no longer rewarded size, it rewarded survival. But there's one final detail that makes this story unsettling. Because Earth may not be finished changing, scientists believe climate shifts in the distant future could once again reshape life completely. New ecosystems, new predators, new evolutionary paths, and evolution always experiments, which raises a disturbing possibility. Maybe giant creatures are not gone forever. Maybe Earth is simply waiting for the right conditions to create them again. Because the planet has done it before, again and again. And every time, it ended the same way. The giants ruled the world until the world changed.